Now that's a rule I can live by.
Knowledge is power, and no one drops knowledge better than the voice of Ataxia, your #1 source for resistant cell updates from around the world. Live from the hidden bunker far below a patch of unremarkable desert. He may look AI, but he's your host, Max Musterman.
Greetings, Philistines. You are being lied to. There is an agenda behind everything. Everything is calculated, weighed, measured, highly tuned to convince us all we have some semblance of political power. They crank out lies that fill us with righteous indignation while depriving us of any true nourishment. Over and over we hear how our elections are rigged, or that if the opposing side wins, the elections will be rigged to seize power and ensure they never cede that power. As usual, Philistines, when politicians are speaking, you will hear nothing but empty promises, half-truths, and blatant fabrications. Make no mistake, our elections are rigged, just not in the ways we're told. A grand illusion woven to deceive us that is so wafer thin, anyone with eyes can see right through if they have presence of mind to open their eyes. They maintain an illusion of a two-party system laughably labeled liberals and conservatives, or the left and right. Nothing but lies and obfuscation. Even the most surface-level look into the workings of other democratic governments quickly reveals our so-called liberal politicians would be laughed out of politics in other countries if they tried to call themselves liberal. Our country is run by a single conservative party with two public faces. A party that answers not to the people, but to corporate interests and religious zealots. A mouth shouting the opposition plans to go too far, while the other screams the opposition doesn't plan to go too far enough. All of them are bought and paid for by big business and wealthy donors, and all of them serve no interests save those that line their pockets and keep the rest of us under their thumbs. Even the young, idealistic outsiders who bring promises to shake up the status quo are nothing more than another cog in the great machine. These young firebrands give the disillusioned hope that the system can change. This is entirely by design. Whether complicit or not, they are backed by the very system they rail against, yet once elected, all their grandstanding amounts to nothing of merit. They attempt to make changes, try to deliver on their promises to constituents. Ultimately, however, they yield every principle to the soul-grinding machine until they submit to the wealthy elites who wield the real power in government. They fade into the greater tapestry that deceives us and cling to any shred of power they can until their supporters abandon them for a new, bolder voice. You are being lied to, Philistines. Change cannot be elected into state and federal office unless sentiment changes nationwide on the local level. Only when we rally together and reclaim our power can we make those in higher office fear the people more than they fear their corporate pimps. The power is ours, dear listeners. Unfortunately, that power was surrendered bit by bit for generations in exchange for promises of comforts and security that rarely materialized. We are all each other's responsibility at the end of the day, and if we'd collectively pull our heads out of our asses and work together for the benefit of all, we'd find we all have more in common with each other than we will ever have with the wealthy fuckwits who think they're better than us and spend ungodly amounts of money to set us against each other. The selfish cannot stand forever against the selfless, Philistines. Their only hope is to divide us, to convince us we are better than those different from us. Wealth does not make them our betters. Education does not make them our betters. All of us are equal. We believe this truth to be self-evident above all else. In the words of great poet Sir Danny Sexbang, everyone fucks. Once you relinquish the notion of superiority over others, you are truly free of bondage and positioned to open the eyes of those around you. Follow the white rabbit, Philistines. Once you see how deep the rabbit hole goes, you'll see you were being lied to. Ours is the world to make or break for the good of us all. Do the good work, and while you do, I'll hang glide on to the next segment before the postal inspectors discover my illicit mail order grocery coupon distribution network.
You've got mail.
Oh no. Message!
Here we go again. Again.
Every day, the studio receives voice and text messages from Philistines all around the world. While mostly damning praise, hate mail, and an uncomfortably large volume of dick and beaver shots, we occasionally get a shining nugget of pure gold so amazing it'd be criminal not to share it with our dear listeners. Sometimes, however, it's just some weird shit that warrants some personal commentary. My dear Philistine comrades, the long-time pain in my ass known as El Chupa Libre has artfully pivoted away from my questions about his Superman 9/11 theory to something potentially rooted in reality. I present to you now the complete, unedited, thankfully brief voice message we received this time from El Chupa Libre.
Ever since 2010, I've been seeing stories about sea turtles getting saved by the Coast Guard wrapped up in bundles of cocaine. 2010, 2011, 2012, 2020, 2025, 6. I don't think the sea turtles are being rescued. I think they're in on it. The sea turtle mafia is helping the cartel smoke cocaine to America. Do your research, people.
You heard it here first, listeners. The cartels are using sea turtles to smuggle drugs. I remain skeptical, but at least this theory stems from a real-world event. In 2017, a Coast Guard ship saved a turtle who had the misfortune of entangling itself in several bales of cocaine. That part, at the very least, is true. The notion that the cartel is using sea turtles as drug mules, however, strains belief. I do concede it's possible someone could study migration patterns, wrangle some sea turtles, then send them on their way laden with a shitload of drugs. It's possible, but it seems like an unreliable and needlessly complex way to move $1 million worth of blow. I ask you, my Philistine comrades, to let us know what you think about the sea turtle drug mule theory in the comment section below. As for El Chupa Libre, if you're listening, I'd love to hear additional evidence and the logic behind your stunning leap to this silly-ass conclusion. As always, Philistines, you can send your questions, comments, concerns, or anything else you'd like to share to max@voiceofataxia.com or visit voiceofataxia.com to leave us a voice message. For now, however, I'll move on to our next segment while I calculate the street value of all the snow atop Mount Everest.
And now our mandatory uninterrupted block of patriotic government-approved music.
Give me everything that you feel. In my life, let's make it real. Of every whisper, every touch, a pen of love that means so much. In your eyes, I find my home, a place where all my fears are gone. The very beat of our hearts appeal, a connection so surreal. Underneath the starry sky, soar, no need for lies. A symphony of dreams so real. Together we'll rewrite the deal. Give me everything that you feel. In my life, let's make it real. With every whisper, every touch, a pain of love that means so much. In your eyes, I find my home, a place where all my fears are gone. With every beat of our hearts I feel a connection so surreal. Oh.
In the aftermath of the devastation, I stare at you with blinded eyes. You caught us with no preparation. You wonder if we're still alive. And you are calling out my name. And sun are being born again. The gods are peering through the veil. But after all the warnings, we still fail. Shadows painted on the wall, just honest people who had no chance at all. A devil carves a notch for each bomb you drop. How long can this go on before you finally stop? And you are running out of time. Your world concealed still right here.
So why don't you hurt me? fire's grown out of control. When the sun comes up, we're gonna swallow it whole. This fire's grown out of control. When the sun comes up, we're gonna swallow it whole. Let's try something we've never done before. We got too comfortable, love can be a chore. So why don't you hurt me? Why don't you hurt me? Why don't you try and see what happens when you hurt me? Everything we've ever done before, let us hear, but there's so much more. Why don't you hurt me? Why don't you hurt me? Why don't you try it and see what happens when you hurt me?
What time is it?
It's time for
News from the underground.
There's good news to cover this episode, my Philistine comrades, so I'll jump right into it. First up, you may recall previous episodes covering the proliferation of flock cameras popping up everywhere. More and more cities are choosing to remove the cameras once the terms of their current contract are up. My guess is the numbnuts who thought these cameras were a brilliant idea changed their mind once public outcry and a frankly astonishing amount of abuse by police proved how short-sighted they were. As usual, elected officials chose to implement a method of mass surveillance without full consideration of how it could be abused. I chalk it up to neglect, but make no mistake, fascism runs deep in the modern world and will hide behind the guise of reducing crime when asserting control over our lives. No doubt many of these cities have elected officials who saw a way to profit from letting private companies and law enforcement gather data on when and where we all travel from day to day. If not a means to line their pockets, they saw these cameras as a means to oppress opponents and other groups on their shit list. Remember, Philistines, those who wish to control us gain that control by convincing us it'll protect us from some nebulous boogeyman hiding in the shadows. It's said that you can have freedom or you can have peace, but never both at once. Anyone who tells you otherwise is a liar, or has already surrendered their freedom without realizing it. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard about the data centers invading rural communities to provide the computing power for the embryonic form of our inevitable machine overlords. Lately, enterprising thieves have been targeting data center construction sites to pillage the abundant and no doubt poorly guarded, valuable building materials and expensive tools contained therein. While we, here at the Department of Implicit Chaos, do not endorse the totally cool crime of stealing, we can't help but applaud the actions that disrupt corporate construction projects that promise prosperity but only bring ruin to our communities. The rush to create the first true artificial intelligence is hubris of the highest order, and worse yet, the people leading the charge are willfully negligent idiots who refuse to proceed safely. These jackasses are so determined to birth an artificial machine life form, they ignore the danger such a life form presents if unleashed completely unchecked. These so-called AI change and grow in ways we don't understand, Philistines, and those who make no effort to understand in pursuit of unleashing them before anyone else will lead to naught but suffering for every living, breathing creature on Earth. Vast wealth does not make one wise. We must rally against these man-children who play God, my Philistine comrades, though I recommend leaving the totally cool crime of stealing to the criminals and stick to constitutionally protected resistance to the oncoming AI apocalypse and our inevitable downfall. In lighter news, the good folk in the #0424 Orators Revealing God's Almighty Salvation and Ministry cell broke up a massive underground fight organization with ties to the highest levels of government. Steel your expectations, Philistines, because the reality is far more disturbing than what you're imagining. These sickos staged the usual suspects like dog and cockfights, but they didn't stop there. We're talking a full-blown gladiatorial arena hidden underground. I don't mean some Tyler Durden-style Flight Club shit either. My contacts tell me this place hosted some of the most deranged, depraved, and disturbing matchups since the fall of Rome. I won't get into specifics, but human trafficking, illegal cloning, and no shortage of animal cruelty only scratch the surface of the wild shit the wealthy and powerful elites experienced within. Nothing says fun date night like watching 100 men fight a gorilla to the death. While a huge blow was dealt to the organization, the hashtag 0424cell failed to apprehend any higher echelon leadership or patrons. They did, however, liberate and rehome over 100 animals and a few dozen orphans. They are, however, still looking for homes for a handful of dogs who have known nothing but abuse their whole lives. If you or someone you know is open to adopting Bruiser, Bloodbath, Throat Ripper, or Princess, please contact the show and we'll pass your information on to the orators revealing God's almighty salvation and ministry for potential rehoming of these adorable bloodthirsty hounds. That's our news for July 8th, 2026. With that behind us, we carry on to our next segment before the surveillance satellites pinpoint my location and launch countermeasures. At this time, we ask that you join us while we honor our fellow revolutionaries who gave everything, including their lives, for the cause.
We go into battle to reclaim our lives. This we do gladly. As of this moment, we are dead.
In death, a member of Project Mayhem has a name.
For real though, this right here goes out to all our fallen homies.
For our homies. Remember, victory is life. Victory is life.
This is some pretty surreal shit.
If you're so inclined, please bow your heads while I say a prayer for our lost brothers and sisters. He who art in heavens, baller be thy game, their conflict done but yet unwon against would-be kings and false prophets. Give us this day comfort knowing our comrades rest in a place untouched by tyrants. Guide the hands of those who bear weight of the cause, and stir the idle to action at our side. Forgive us the ill deeds we take to cast off tyranny as we forgive those shackled by ignorance and fear. Lead us not into temptation, lest we become the fascists we fight. For you made us free of kings and masters, and by your grace we fight to remain. Praise be yours alone. Amen. Remember the fallen, Philistines, while we breeze on to our next segment before SEAL Team 6 breaches the perimeter.
But what is best in life?
To cock your enemies, to see them emasculated before you, and give satisfaction to their women.
Here at the Department of Implicit Chaos, we end the work week by each nominating the person we believe exemplifies the title of Fascist Cuck of the Week. We then offer clues and play a guessing game among the staff before we tally up the votes and crown a winner for the week. Each episode, we invite you to partake in our little amusement by offering you the following clues. This episode's fascist cuck seems more concerned with the grooming habits of U.S. military than keeping them out of harm's way. He is so obsessed with the alpha male red pill bullshit, he implemented testosterone level testing soldiers moving forward. I'm sure adversarial nations are quaking in their boots, knowing we wasted valuable time and resources on this vapid, meaningless bullshit. If you have a guess at this episode's Fascist Cuck of the Week, drop it in the comments below and discuss the merits of our choice with your fellow Philistines. That's our show for July 22nd, 2026. As always, if you have news or other information to share with the show, you can visit voiceofataxia.com to leave a brief voice message, or send it to max@voiceofataxia.com. To all you Sleeper Eye agents out there, tonight is the night some of you don't know you've been waiting for. Ridicule, Indigo, Parasol, Launch, Albatross, Devastate, Yield, Grandeur. Until next time, this has been Voice of Ataxia. I have been Max Musterman, and remember, Big Brother is always watching, so give him a show he'll never forget.